Vengeance is a 2022 American black comedy mystery film written and directed by B.J. Novak in his directorial debut. The film stars Novak, Boyd Holbrook, Dove Cameron, Issa Rae, and Ashton Kutcher. Jason Blum is the producer under his Blumhouse Productions banner, and Greg Gilgreth and Adam Hendricks are also producers under the Divide and Conquer banner. Vengeance had its world premiere at the Tribeca Festival on June 12, 2022, and was released in the United States on July 20, 2022 by Focus Pictures. The film received generally favourable reviews from critics. Between 2015 and 2018, B.J. Novak, who lives in Los Angeles, California, took several trips to Texas to do research for a film he wanted to write about the blue state podcaster who travels to a red state. In March 2020, it was announced that Novak would direct and star in the film, with Issa Rae, Ashton Kutcher and Boyd Holbrook also joining the cast. Principal photography began at Albuquerque, New Mexico in March 2020, but was halted due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In January 2021, Isabella Amara joined the cast and production resumed that month. In March of 2021, J. Smith Cameron and Leo Tipperton enjoyed the cast, with Focus Features set to distribute. Linus O'Connell composed the film score, and the soundtrack was released by Backlot Music. In the United States and Canada, Vengeance was released alongside DC League of Super Pets and was projected to gross $2 million from 998 theatres in opening weekend. The film made $650,000 on its first day and a total of $1.8 million over the weekend, finishing 10th. Deadline Hollywood noted that while the amount was not super, being a low-budget film that received theatrical release would make it more attractive and stand out in the streaming and PVOD menu. The film fell 60% to $720,000 in its second weekend, and grossed a total of $4.4 million. Some fun trivia notes. On an episode of Office Ladies podcast, B.J. Novak said that he first got the idea for the film when he saw a poster for another film titled Vengeance at a film festival. He said that he was struck with the image of his face on a poster with that name on it, believing audiences would be surprised, since that's not the type of work he's known for. The scene where Kansas City shows Ben her cracked phone screen and says that she kept it because it reminds her of how she feels mirrors a similar scene in The Apartment in 1960, where Shirley MacLaine's character has a cracked mirror in her apartment and explains to Jack Lemmon's character that she does not fix it because it reminds her of how she feels. At one point in the movie, Ben and Ty discuss Liam Neeson movies. Boyd Holbrook, who plays Ty, was actually in one Liam Neeson movie, A Walk Among Tombstones, in 2014. In a 2022 interview, Novak commented on his experience of directing a feature for the first time. I was scared over every detail, and I especially turned to a lot of my director friends for advice and encouragement, almost every step of the way. A friend of mine, Mark Webb, gave me a lot of great wisdom. So did John Lee Hancock, who I've worked with a lot. So I was really turning to those people for advice that helped me get through the project. The cast includes B.J. Novak as Ben Malowitz, a New York City journalist who lives a metropolitan life of casual romantic relationships. Late one night, he receives a phone call from a stranger, informing them that his girlfriend, Abeline Abby Shaw, has died of an apparent drug overdose. In actuality, Abby was just one of Ben's many casual romantic relationships, who he barely remembers. At Ty's insistence, Ben flies to Texas to attend the funeral. It's there now he begins a podcast to further investigate Abby's alleged murder. Boyd Holbrook as Tyler Clayton Shaw, or simply known as Ty, Abby's brother, who calls Ben to tell him that Abby has since passed away and invites him to come to the funeral. J. Smith Cameron as Sharon Shaw, Abby's mother. Leo Tipton as Abeline Shaw, or better known as Abby, the girl that unfortunately loses her life at the start of the movie. Dove Cameron as Kansas City Shaw, Abby's younger sister. Issa Rae as Eloise, Ben's podcast producer. Ashton Kutcher as Quentin Sellers, an eccentric record producer, who, like Ben, is an outsider and is college-educated, but has come to adopt Texas as his home. And John Mayer as John, who has a small cameo appearance at the start of the film as one of Ben's friends. Now, this is one of those films where the trailer can be somewhat misleading. If you watch the trailer, you think this is just going to be a fun comedy. But when you actually sit down and watch this film, it is really philosophical. It's a beautifully written script, with really multi-layered characters, and a very well-directed film here by the leading star and lead writer, B.J. Novak. Novak, who is primarily known for his work on The Office, really delves into the complicated divide that we find within America today. He, of course, is a preppy New Yorker who is woke, modern, sophisticated, and lives his life at a fast pace. Then, through one random phone call, he becomes now entrenched in a whole different way of life in the deep heart of West Texas, where he meets the Shaw family, who on the outset believe that he was the love of their daughter's life, but meanwhile he barely knew her. He goes along with it, though, to see and understand the depth of this family, and of course to get some great content for his new podcast. What he uncovers along the way, though, is maybe rather simple people who live quite uncomplicated lives. Yes, on the outset they're the usual stereotypes of an absolute love for guns, going to the rodeo, and being deep, devoted Christians. But as he, of course, now gets to know the family, he realizes they are a family, they stick together, and they will be there for him too, as they welcome him in as one of the new members, as it were. What starts off as quite a light, easy comedy becomes quite a deep, nuanced and layered film. I particularly like the performance here from Ashton Kutcher, who turns out an excellent performance here as the very complicated Quentin Sellers. A lot of the things that Sellers says in the film really resonated with me, and he was really wise and had a deep perspective on how the world really works, especially within modern society. What B.J. Novak does here in writing the script is he now outlines both of the rights and wrongs within these two very different societies, albeit under one American flag. You couldn't get two more contrasting peoples, two more contrasting ways of thinking, yet all within one very large country. It's a film of self-discovery as well, as Ben now learns that there is more to life than just podcasting, having one-night stands, and trying to keep up with Western society's demands. He learns to appreciate the Shaw family for what they are and who they are. And the film ends on a very strong note, with Ben coming to the full realization that there's more to life than he's ever realized before. But that in some ways he can't relate to the Shaws on every aspect either. It's an excellently written script that will really leave you thinking quite deeply afterwards. There are plenty of laughs too, and each performance is excellent. From Boyle Holbrook here as Ty, to the wonderful J. Smith Cameron as Sharon Shaw. The script is biting, relevant, thought-provoking, and exceptionally deep. This is one of those films that really took me by surprise, and I love it when films do that. As I went in expecting one thing and came out with a different experience entirely. Excellently directed, with a superb script and good cast performances. Vengeance gets a 9 out of 10.